Good morning, guys. So I'm out here in the camper. I thought I would just show you guys what I have planned and what we're thinking of doing. We really only use this camper about once a year. Usually in October we do a big week-long camping trip with some friends, and otherwise it just sits here. Now, we do keep the heat on in the winter, all winter long. It's always plugged in. We keep the AC going. It's going now. The lights are always working. So it doesn't just sit here empty, collecting dust. Like, we do come out here often to make sure that there's no mice infestation, bugs, and moisture issues. We do have it parked. We have, on our barn, we have a hip barn. So one side of it has a pull-through covered, I don't know, little, just covered parking thing, right? I don't have words. But we do keep it parked under there, so it is completely covered. The side is pretty exposed, but for the most part, we just keep it picked up. So here's what I am doing. So because it just sits here waiting for us to use it once a year, and our house is only 900 square feet. I think you guys know that. I think I've said that before. Our house is very small. So we have a 2-bedroom house. The 1 bedroom is actually used for my office when I work from home and anything to do with my pleats and gathers business. So I do have a side business called Pleats and Gathers. It started out as a sewing channel or a sewing page on Facebook. It started out sewing projects to make a little extra money, and plus I just like to play and sew. And then it eventually grew itself to tumbler making and a t-shirt business. And I still do t-shirts. I no longer do tumblers. I wanted to get away from the toxicity of the epoxy. And especially after the grandbaby was born, we didn't want that going at all anymore. Especially not in the house. We should have never been doing it in the house to begin with. But, so here's what I'm thinking. To make some extra room, we have moved the sewing side of things, and I'm also starting to do candles and homemade natural soaps. Natural candles, natural soaps. We do have a farm stand. We have our hands on a little bit of everything, but we do have a farm stand where we sell eggs and jams and other produce and things that come off the farm. I'm also putting some sewing projects out there. I have some cloth napkins that I've been making and other things, and I will start putting soaps and candles out there as well. So all of those 3 things, the sewing, the candles, the soaps, will all be done here in the camper. We've moved all of that out here. I can flip the camera and show you where I'm at now. I just now moved things out here, and it's everything's just everywhere, so I have no organization. But I wanted to take you along on this adventure and see how it works for us. T-shirts will remain in the house because the heat press for the t-shirt making pulls too much wattage to put out here. Plus, this is such a small space that it gets really hot, and I don't want that in this camper. So t-shirts will remain in the office, in the house. Everything else, Pleats and Gathers, is coming out here. So let me show you. Okay, so to give you guys perspective, here's the front door. To the right, if you're entering the front door, to the right is the bedroom. We do have 2 bunks and a queen size bed in this camper. So we brought in this table, and I think this is going to work really well for cutting fabrics and cutting clothes. I do have a stash of hoodies and flannels. I think I've shown you guys before, but I make the hoodie and flannel combos. I saw it on Maddie Mac Fashions on TikTok, and she started making them, and I thought, oh, I can totally make those. So I'm playing with that. So I do have a stash of those there, which I will be using. This table, this is the table I had in the office anyway. This is what I was using to cut on anyway. The only difference is now the bed is the legs. So I have this here, and this will for sure stay. We have the mattress that came with the camper, and then we added memory foam and a mattress pad just to make it more comfortable. And so I just rolled those up. So that's what that is for now. I have little buckets of fabric. Oh, this one also has some notions in it. This has thread, a random pair of gloves. That's great. Things to go with my serger. So this is what Caleb got me for my birthday last year, was a serger. And I'll show you that here in a minute, and it's amazing. But that's what that's in there. And then this little bucket is just my bucket of other notions. Fabric. This is pre-cut fabric that I was making scrunchies with. I do all kinds of things, guys, but here's just my random sewing notions in that little bucket. And then just piled around, this is all candle and soap making, and of course my water, but I haven't done anything with this yet. Fabric. I did bring out some old washcloths because I'm going to need this for washing these things, but fabrics, there's some cleaning supplies, more fabric. I have tons of fabric. I like working with small project. I like working with these fat quarters. They're just a quarter of a yard, and they're really handy to make the napkins out of, the cloth napkins. So this is just something. I did bring out this little lamp because it's pretty dark in here, and I really like a lot of light when I'm sewing. Here's my serger, here's my sewing machine, and I'm just going to set those up here on this table, and then that way I can use one on one side and one on the other. I think it's going to work really well. Now, here's the caveat. I am not removing anything that we use for camping, because when we go camping in October, let me turn this camera around. When we do go camping in October, I want this easily set up to where I can either move all Pleats and Gathers things into a bunk, or easily take them right back out and store until we get back. It's 1 week of the year, so I'm not super concerned with having to move things out, but at the same time, I think this space will be really well utilized for this, because we're doing this stuff quite often. This is my hobby. This is my quiet time. So in a house that's only 900 square feet, Caleb and I do live here alone. Our daughter, we're empty nesters. Our daughter is married and grown and doing her own thing, but it's still a very small space, and we have zero separation. So he does have the shop and I had the office, but it's just become too much. So I think this is going to work out great. I will give you more updates. Matter of fact, it may be on the end of this video as I work through sorting this stuff out today and organizing. Then I will come back and show you, but I'm so excited. Okay guys, here's an update. So I've got my machines set up here, and I'm not really using both of them at the same time, obviously, so I can move one out of the way to use the other, so I have plenty of room. Still don't know what to do with the lamp. I do like a lot of light when I'm sewing, so I may just end up putting it on the table, something like so. And then, because there's plug-ins underneath down there that I can plug into. There's also one up here where the TV should go. We never mounted a TV in here because we're never in the camper long enough to need one. I've got a fan going up there. But, so there's that. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. So here's candle and soap station. Moving my jug. So I've got my hot plate. I do need to get another pot because I'm not going to bring one of my kitchen ones out here. So I'll get a new pot for that so I can have my double boiler going for melting wax and soap. And then, so here's some soap stuff. Essential oils in here for soap making and candle making for the fragrance, because like I said, I'm doing all of this naturally, but I don't want sun in there, so I've got my little hot pads on top. It's just wax for candles, thermometer, things like that. And then I have, this is actually for bread making, but it works really well for the candles and soap because it just comes right off of this thing. So our sink, and most campers have this, our sink has a tray that just sits on top to give you a little more counter space, sits on top of the sink. And so I won't be using this sink for washing anything, but I do have the bathroom sink. So once we fill the tanks and I have water in here at all times, then I can use the bathroom sink for anything that I might need water for. So this will give me extra workspace. So super excited about that. So let's move on. Sewing station. So I went through all of my fabric, sorted it out. So I have characters and sports, and then this little bucket here is just fat quarters and yards that haven't actually been cut yet, and so I just separated those out, even though some of them they go in each pile. But at least I know that these haven't been cut. They're full quarters. So like I said, that's sports. This is seasonal, animals. These are really small, just scrap pieces, and so I just took those out of the pile. These two are just patterned fabric, like there's just something on them. This small one is all I have of solid colors. I'm really surprised with myself. And then that basket has super soft, like the cottony, like t-shirt type material. And then of course that box of notions, scissors and rolling cutters. These are fabrics that I've already pre-cut to do something specific with, so I've just separated those out. So that's where I'm at. I went ahead and just left this tote full of these sweatshirts and stuff here. I think it's out of the way. I'm not gonna trip over it, and I know where everything's at. So far guys, that's where I'm at.